Oh my god, I've never had bacterial infection, not even a yeast infection. But sis, you have a VJ, right? I mean, you have vagina. So why are you gaslighting that vagina? Now, this is some of the statements many ladies make just because they are not sexually active. Now, you need to get this straight. Yeast infection is not sexually transmitted. You can have yeast infection even if you have never had sex before. Yes, you heard me, sis. Even if you have never had sex before. This is because as long as you have vagina, you will experience some changes down there at some point in your life, and it doesn't make you dirty, it doesn't make you promiscuous or even irresponsible. It makes you human. So today's video, I'll be breaking down the difference between yeast infection and bacterial infection, that's bacterial vaginosis. But my main focus today will be more on yeast infection, what it is, why it happens, and how you can know you have yeast infection. So if you are coming across my channel for the first time, you are welcome. My name is Uchechi Chizendu and I'm a clinical physiologist. So hit the subscribe button so that you'll be notified anytime I post a new video. Now let's get back to the subject matter today, yeast infection. A yeast infection is also called a vaginal candidiasis. It is caused by a fungus called a Candida albicans. Now here is a part many people don't know. Candida is not a stranger in your VJ, it is not a stranger in your body. In fact, it is actually part of your normal vaginal flora, meaning it naturally lives there in small amounts, and it also lives in your mouth and also even in your guts. You can find all these fungus, this Candida, even in your gastrointestinal tract. So having Candida in your body is absolutely normal. The problem starts when it overgrows. This is the reason why when you go for a screening test, they normally state the range of the Candida, either heavy growth, moderate growth, or scanty growth. This fungus is not supposed to outgrow or maybe overgrow some certain kind of level down there. That is where yeast infection comes in. So think of it like this: your VJ has a balanced ecosystem. There are good bacteria, especially lactobacillus. Now, they help to maintain an acidic environment. That acidity keeps yeast and other harmful bacteria under control. But when this balance is disturbed, what happens? Candida multiplies, it grows rapidly. That is where yeast infection comes in. Now, you need to understand that all these microorganisms are meant to be in your body in a certain range. They are not meant to overgrow. So what happens if they overgrow the limit they are supposed to? Now, this is where the issue lies. So what causes Candida to overgrow? Now, let's talk about common triggers that can cause yeast infection to overgrow even when you treat it over and over again. And number one is misuse of antibiotic. Yes, you heard me, antibiotics. When you take antibiotics for typhoid, UTI, respiratory infection, they don't just kill the bad bacteria only, they also kill the good bacteria. Now, I said earlier on that all these good bacteria, they help to maintain the normal pH down there, the normal flora down there. They help to maintain the acidic environment in your VJ. Without these good bacteria, yeast will grow rapidly. And this is one of the reasons why some of you will keep on treating yeast infection and it refuses to go. The reason why it is like this is because of you misuse antibiotic. You overdose yourself with antibiotic, and this antibiotics you are taking is harming your good bacteria, and your good bacteria is what helps to maintain your pH down there. Without a normal pH balance, yeast will grow rapidly. And number two is high sugar level. Now listen, if you have uncontrolled diabetes or maybe you consume a lot of sugar, yeast love that environment and sugar feeds Candida. That is why women with poorly controlled blood sugar are more prone to a recurrent yeast infection. And number three, hormonal changes. Now you need to understand pregnancy, birth control pills, hormonal fluctuation during menstrual cycle can actually change your vaginal environment. Another reason why you have outgrown Candida is douching. Please stop douching. Your vagina is self-cleansing. Now listen up, when you douche, you disrupt the natural pH down there and you remove the protective bacteria. Now listen up, if you are constantly wearing tight or unbreathable underwear down there, sis, you are fueling your bacteria, you are fueling your yeast infection to grow. This is because constant moisture and heat creates a perfect environment for yeast to grow, for yeast to thrive. So how do you know you have yeast infection? One of the classic symptoms of yeast infection is intense vaginal itching. In fact, this is the number one symptoms of yeast infection, intense vaginal itching. And if you normally experience burning sensation when you're urinating, this can result from irritation of your vulva due to itching. And again, thick whitish discharge that looks like cottage cheese, or even redness and swelling around your vulva. Some persons experience pain during sexual intercourse. Now, if you experience any of these symptoms, I want you to go for a screening test for yeast infection. Now, very important, yeast infection discharge does not usually have a strong smell. That's one major clue. Now, if you're itching like crazy and you see a thick whitish discharge that looks like a cottage cheese and it doesn't have a strong odor, sis, that might be yeast infection. Is this infection sexually transmitted? Well, the answer is no. So let me get that clearly. Yeast infection is not classified as a sexually transmitted infection. You can get a yeast infection even if you have never had sex before. So what's the difference between bacterial vaginosis and yeast infection? Some persons confuse these two. Now you need to understand that bacterial vaginosis happens when there is overgrowth of harmful bacteria in your VJ down there and a decrease of the good bacteria, especially your lactobacillus. Remember I said earlier that your good bacteria helps to maintain the acidic pH in the acidic environment pH in your VJ. Without these good bacteria, your yeast will overgrow. Now in bacterial vaginosis, now there's overgrowth of the bad bacteria. Unlike in candidiasis, there's this overgrowth of fungus. One of the bacteria that is commonly associated with bacterial vaginosis is Gardnerella vaginalis. Now here is how bacterial vaginosis is different from yeast infection. Now for discharge, yeast infection you experience thick whitish discharge just like a cottage cheese. Then for bacterial vaginosis you experience thin, green or milky discharge. For smell, yeast infection usually no strong odor, while for bacterial vaginosis you experience a strong fishy smell, especially after sex. Now for itching, in yeast infection you experience intense itching. In fact, this is one of the signature symptoms of yeast infection, while for bacterial vaginosis either you experience mild itching or no itching at all. Now, the key difference between yeast infection and bacterial vaginosis is that yeast infection is fungal overgrowth. It's fungal overgrowth, while for bacterial vaginosis, it's bacterial imbalance or bad bacterial overgrowth. Now, listen, it is important not to self-diagnose yourself. Many women, anytime they experience anything like itching, intense itching down there, or maybe they experience anything like whitish discharge, automatically they take it as yeast infection without any screening test and they start taking antifungal medication. And if the infection is actually bacterial vaginosis, antifungal treatment will not work. So stop abusing those antifungal drugs. Some of you even go to the length of taking both antifungal and antibacterial medication without any proper screening. If you're unsure or maybe you notice any strong smell down there, it is advisable for you to see a healthcare professional before taking any medication. I hope this video was helpful. Give a thumbs up. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Bye.